Satoru Gojo's 15 Best Quotes in Jujutsu Kaisen. Throughout Jujutsu Kaisen, Satoru Gojo has delivered just as many hilarious one-liners as he has thought-provoking sentiments. Satoru Gojo is one of Jujutsu Kaisen's most interesting characters. Coming from one of the strongest Jujutsu families, Satoru is the de facto strongest sorcerer on the planet. He's the first to inherit both the Six Eyes and Limitless curse techniques in several hundred years. Despite the power he holds, Satoru is still an approachable individual with plenty of lovable qualities. Satoru quickly became a fan favorite because of his wonderful sense of humor, flashy displays of power, and seemingly unshakable confidence in himself. Throughout Jujutsu Kaisen, Satoru delivered plenty of memorable quotes, from hilarious one-liners to thought-provoking sentiments. Satoru Gojo is a dependable teacher and powerful Jujutsu sorcerer who is sure to dispense some words of wisdom in Season 2, which makes it the perfect time to revisit some of Gojo's most moving quotes. Number 15. You're lucky if you can die a normal death after running into a curse. Curses are everyday occurrences to Satoru Gojo and the rest of Jujutsu Kaisen's heroes, but they're quite a jarring sight when they're encountered for the first time. Yuji Itadori is shaken to his core upon his first exposure to curses, which results in a pivotal pep talk from Gojo. Gojo emphasizes how a life of hunting curses will permanently change one's path and likely end in a painful fashion. Gojo wants to make sure that Itadori fully understands what he's getting involved with after he bonds with Sukuna. Number 14. I've always been a nice guy who cares for my students. Jujutsu Kaisen is full of deadly characters, and Satoru Gojo quickly stands out among his peers due to how he's committed to training the next generation of Jujutsu sorcerers. Part of what makes Jujutsu Kaisen such a distinct anime is how it balances the time that's spent at Tokyo Metropolitan Curse Technical College. Gojo is strong, but he's genuinely a good, empathetic teacher. He values this trade and the act of instilling proper values in Itadori and the rest of his students just as much as he enjoys fighting evil. That simple quote perfectly reflects Gojo's duality. Number 13. Me, a target of the great Sukuna? What an honor! There is no shortage of vicious curses in Jujutsu Kaisen. However, right from the start of the anime, there's extra reverence that's directed at ultimate evil Sukuna. Even the strongest of Jujutsu sorcerers are hesitant around Sukuna, which makes Gojo's flippant attitude quite a shock. Gojo's sarcastic undercutting of Sukuna's threat is the perfect reflection of how he's so often relaxed when in the face of danger. When most would cower and retreat, Gojo lightens the mood and doesn't succumb to fear. Number 12. Maybe I should just kill all the higher-ups. Jujutsu Kaisen uses impressive world-building when it comes to its tiers of Jujutsu sorcerers and the threat levels that various curses pose. Curses and Jujutsu sorcery are hardly a regimented science, but there's still a chain of command to be respected. Many Jujutsu sorcerers know their place and express fealty, but the above quote highlights Gojo's desire to reinvent the system. Gojo can be incredibly casual when he discusses something as dire as a Jujutsu rebellion. He's not afraid to protect what's important to him, in this case, Itadori, and express his own opinions rather than mindlessly function as another cog in the Jujutsu machine. Number 11. Searching for someone to blame is just a pain. Anime is full of powerful warriors, but what's ultimately more impressive than brute strength is an infallible moral compass. Plenty of admirable heroes struggle with responsibility and the act of owning their mistakes. Satoru Gojo doesn't just accept his own shortcomings, but he resents those who hide behind empty excuses. Gojo considers it futile to blame others for his own errors, and he understands that true growth comes from acceptance and humble humility. Progress is impossible if individuals can't make peace with their past and properly move on. Number 10. When granted everything, you can't do anything. Perception, communication, every action associated with living is forcibly repeated an infinite number of times. It's ironic, isn't it? When granted everything, you can't do anything. During his first fight against Jogo, Satoru unleashes his domain expansion, Infinite Void. Instantly, Jogo notes that he is experiencing everything imaginable, yet simultaneously nothing. The sheer amount of information and stimulation the cursed spirit experiences in just a few seconds is enough to paralyze him. Noting the spirit's predicament, Satoru grabs Jogo's head and mocks his plight. Number 9. Maybe it's good night for me. Maybe it's good night for me, but it's about time you woke up. Since the Shibuya incident, Satoru has been in the prison realm. This is done by none other than Kenjaku, who resides within Suguru Geto's corpse. Satoru quickly understands that the man in front of him isn't Suguru. Instead, it is someone who is using his best friend's corpse as a puppet. Just as Satoru is about to be sealed away in the prison realm, he leaves Suguru with a few choice words, which prompts Suguru's soul to fight for control against Kenjaku. Number 8. Your sorry excuse for a brain. I'm surprised you thought you could beat me using your sorry excuse for a brain. When Kenjaku's group tries to overpower Satoru at Shibuya Station, the sorcerer quickly overwhelms all of them at once. The powerful curse, Jogo, foolishly believes that he outsmarted Satoru. Jogo assumes he's gained the upper hand since Satoru appears to be surprised. Satoru is surprised, but merely at Jogo's folly. He proceeds to take him and his demonic group down. Number 7. Don't worry, I'm the strongest. After meeting Yuji for the first time, Satoru challenges him to let Sukuna take over for 10 seconds as a way to test his control. Yuji is initially apprehensive, but he allows the experiment. Yuji's worried Sukuna will go on a killing spree, which will put Megumi and Satoru in harm's way. However, Satoru stops Yuji in his tracks and reassures him that Sukuna isn't the mightiest one present. Satoru was actually the strongest. Number 6. Dying to win and risking death to win are completely different. One of Megumi's most significant character flaws is his overly self-sacrificial nature. While this is generally considered a noble trait, one must question their true intentions when this is excessively done. Satoru immediately recognizes the suspicious nature of this behavior and tells Megumi that he'll never reach his full potential if he keeps acting in such a manner. That quote reflects Gojo's capacity to cut through the subterfuge and see the truth. Number 5. I was worried you might just die from the shock. Oh, thank goodness. I was worried you might just die from the shock. Satoru believes that Gakuganji has orchestrated Yuji's death during Jujutsu Kaisen's Cursed Womb arc. Gojo is never afraid to challenge authority, and he thinks it will be funny to surprise everyone at the Goodwill event and reveal that Yuji Itadori has come back to life. Satoru rolls Yuji into the event inside of a giant box, only for Itadori to suddenly pop out. Gojo and Itadori don't exactly get the response that they expect, but it gives Gojo a golden opportunity to further bruise the principal's ego. Number 4. When you die, you'll be alone. No matter allies you have around you, when you die, you'll be alone. Satoru acknowledges Megumi's willingness to cooperate with his teammates. Even during a game of baseball, Megumi opts for a bunt instead of a home run because he wants to give Nobara a chance to hit the bases. However, Satoru tells Megumi that he cannot apply a team sport mentality to Jujutsu sorcery, which is an individual endeavor. Self-preservation needs to come first, even though cooperating with other sorcerers is still important. Number 3. Love is the most twisted curse of all. I believe love is the most twisted curse of all. In Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Yuta concludes Rika might not be the one who's actually cursing him. Instead, he might be cursing Rika and rendering it impossible for her to move on to the afterlife. Gojo seems to believe this is a plausible theory. After speaking a few poignant words, Satoru empowers Yuta to declare that he will become a strong enough sorcerer to unravel Rika's curse while at Jujutsu High. Number 2. It's unforgivable to steal the youth from kids. It's unforgivable to steal the youth away from kids. I still haven't forgiven them for taking a young person's youth away. Satoru is just as protective over Yuta Okotsu as he is with Yuji Itadori. When the upper echelons of Jujutsu society want these teenagers' heads on sticks, Satoru is quick to postpone their execution. He's the one who pushes that these leaders seek an alternative solution. Gojo believes that the youth of this generation deserve to experience as much joy in life as possible, no matter what. Number 1. I alone am the honored one. Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one. Satoru proves during his rematch against Toji Fushiguro how much he wants to assert himself as the world's strongest sorcerer. The sorcerer stands in front of Toji and cockily welcomes him back. During the fight, fans see a completely new side of Satoru. Gojo's ruthless side comes forward, and he drops the easygoing and fun-loving demeanor that's typically his norm. Satoru looks down upon Toji during the fight's suspenseful climax. He declares that he's the superior sorcerer and proceeds to deliver the finishing blow.